Hey guys, hope you're doing okay, staying sane, staying active, all the good stuff. I'm Chloe and I'm going to show you just some of the basics of yoga. I know that we've been talking a lot about how beneficial it can be, but I'm also aware that not everyone has done it before, and so when I say names of the poses, you might be thinking, what is that? So I'm just going to show you some of the basics so that when we post classes and I say names of stuff, you'll have a little bit of an idea of what I'm talking about. So first things first, you should always know, no matter what's going on in your body, that you are always welcome to modify any pose, any time, any class you go to just do what feels good and makes sense for your body. So we'll just get started with a tabletop pose. So this is just coming down into the shape of a table, basically. You're on all fours, and I just want you to take a little look down at your hands and make sure that you really fan the fingers out wide, push down, and try to connect through as much of your palms onto the mat as you can. And we want to have our shoulders are stacked right over the wrists, your hips are over the knees, and just always keep a flat spine. So this is going to mean a little tuck of the chin. Yeah, that's tabletop. With a lot of brain injuries, inversions, aka anything where you're upside down, doesn't feel good. It can trigger vertigo, dizziness. So I want to give you a couple tools and modifications to help you change any pose. So child's pose, which is when we sink our hips back toward your heels, hands walk in front, spine rounds. So you can see there that my head is below my heart, which that might make me dizzy. So an option is to take a block, a pillow, any object that's high enough, and you can just place it underneath of your forehead. And as you can see, that just helps lift the floor up to me. Another modification is to always keep your head above your heart. So whenever you do any kind of pose, just pick a spot on the floor further ahead of you. Keep your gaze focused on that and don't change it, no matter how the body changes. So let's explore another pose. We'll come back to our tabletop shape. And this is called cat-cow movement. So the cow pose is the belly sinking down toward the mat, your shoulders draw together, the gaze might lift if that feels okay. And then we'll go to cat pose. We round the spine, push the floor away, and if it feels okay, the head can drop down. So we'll take a few breaths like that. Breath into cow pose, belly drops, shoulders together. Exhale, cat pose, round the spine. Breath in, cow pose. And exhale, cat pose. Let's come back to our tabletop. Yeah, I'll explain our T transition, which is what we use in a lot of our modified yoga to help us come from an on the floor position to a standing position. So again, you don't need blocks for this. You could use any kind of stable shape, something that can take a little bit of your weight and isn't going to collapse in. It's not going to buckle or fall over. So whatever you're using, just bring it up onto a higher setting in front of you on your mat. Yeah, hands will come onto the tops of the blocks of the shape. And draw attention into one foot and step it to the top of your mat, just behind the blocks. And then tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and step that foot top of the block. So as you can see here, I'm in what is a fold position. If it feels okay in the head, doesn't cause dizziness, you can let the head bow down. And we'll just take a couple breaths here. And on your next breath in, come to a flat spine. Arms will reach out to a T either side of you. Pause for a breath. And then nice and slow, start to reach all the way up. Reach your hands overhead. And then through heart center. So this is our mountain pose. We just come top of the mat, feet nice and wide, about hip distance or even more apart, so that we feel nice and balanced. Yeah, so from here, we'll explore that T transition one more time. So reach up, take a breath in. Exhale, come to your halfway T. Pause for a breath. And then exhale, release your hands down to the blocks in front of you. And just stay. Yeah, getting ready to rise up. Take a breath into the T. Pause the exhale. And then on a breath in, lift all the way up. Hands heart center. Yeah, we'll move into an explanation of some of our standing series. So I'm going to show you what a warrior one looks like, what that should look like in the feet and in the arms. So I'll do it on a little bit of an angle so that hopefully you can see what all sides look like. So let's start. Draw attention into your left foot, over there, and then just take a big step up your mat. Yeah, you want that back foot to also be pointing forward. Pick a spot in front of you and have it so that both feet point toward that spot. And then when you feel nice and rooted, you can start to find a bend into the front knee. So we're getting a little bit of a lunge. And then if it feels okay, you're nice and balanced, you can reach the hands overhead. And just spend a couple breaths here. If you feel good about this pose and you want to take it a little bit further, you might add on a twist. So just pay attention to your front knee. Feel the front foot nice and strong. Take a breath in. On your exhale, start to twist toward your front leg. And then slow, come back to center. Twist again. And you can do that so many times as feels okay. And if you're having any issue with dizziness when you turn, try keeping the gaze fixed on one spot ahead of you, and it's just the body that could twist. So my gaze stays forward, just the arms that twist. Gaze forward, come back, and then I can twist again. Yeah. So you can just play around with the pose, know what feels good. When you're ready to come out of it, first just bring your hands to the hips, and then you can kind of inch the feet together, step the back foot up. Yeah, so that's Warrior 1. We're gonna do Warrior 2 pose. We do a lot of this. So this one is quite a bit of a wider stance than that last one we did. So Warrior 2, again, you can draw attention into the left foot and take a really big step forward up your mat. You can even inch that foot further forward. And then take the back foot and turn it out to face the long side of your mat. So as you can see, my back foot is facing out to the side of my mat, and my front foot is facing toward the top of my mat. So that allows us to open up the hips nice and wide and get a big stretch into the legs. Once you feel good about the length of your stance, again, start to find a bend into that front leg. And if you feel good here, the arms can reach out to the side. Gaze can go wherever feels good. It can keep looking out to the side. It can look over the front hand, whatever feels good. So this is our Warrior 2, and you can always stay here, play around with balance, do what feels good. If you want to try a little bit of movement in here, on a breath in, you might straighten that front knee, reach the hands over top, and then exhale back to your warrior two. Breath in, straighten and reach. Exhale. You can do that as many times as you like. And come back to your warrior two. Yeah, we'll start to get into a little bit more challenging poses. These really start to build on strengths. So this is triangle pose. Start to straighten your front leg. Reach as far forward toward the top of your mat as you can. And then release that front hand inside the front leg. And the top hand reaches straight up toward the ceiling. And just make sure that your gaze stays in the same direction as your chest. That top hand can always come to the hip or to the low back if you need a little break. And when you're ready to come out, start to find a little bit of a bend back in the front leg and lift up to your warrior two. And then when you're ready to come out of the warrior two, hands to the hips, straighten the front leg, and just start to heel toe the feet together at the center of your mat. Let's do tree pose, a little bit of a balancing pose. So again, let's this time ground firmly into your right foot. Feel all corners of the foot pressing onto the mat. And then start to come up onto the toes of the left foot. And when you're ready, the toes can always stay grounded on the mat, or they might start to lift up. And you can start to hover that foot. And begin to turn the knee out toward the side of your mat. So again, we're opening up the hips, and the foot could come anywhere onto the leg. It might come down to the calf, or if you want to take it a little further, you can always use the hands, draw it up into the thigh. And yeah, this pose is meant to play around for balance, so you can always do it next to a wall and just build up each time. Maybe getting a little bit further or taking a hand away from the wall for a little bit longer. Yeah, and tree pose, just working on balance. If you're feeling a little adventurous, hands can always come to heart center. They can reach overhead. And when you're ready to come back, just draw your hand to the wall again, and then turn the knee back to center and step the foot down. Yeah, we'll take it down to the floor and just demonstrate a couple of our closing postures that we often do. So down on the mat, just coming down onto your sits bones, you'll see a bend in the knees. Come on, of course, so you can see. And just slowly start to roll the torso all the way down. Move into thread the needle, so keep the left foot planted on the mat and start to lift the right foot and cross it so that the foot just rests on top of that left knee. And you can stay here, or if you want to take it a little bit deeper, hands might reach through for the back of the left thigh. And you can stay for as long as feels okay. This is just a really nice stretch on the hips. And then just make sure that you always do both sides whenever you do this pose so that they stay nice and equal. Yeah. And whenever you are done your practice, and it can always be as long or as short, as soft or intense as you need it, just make sure that you always take a little bit of time at the end for yourself and to acknowledge your practice. So your Shavasana is typically when you just find a comfortable lay down position and spend a few moments there. Yeah, so just making sure that you try to take a couple moments at the end of your practice and just acknowledge what feels good, if your body needed anything in particular, what you might want to work on next time. And yeah, keep staying active, keep doing all the good things.